Hey there, my friends, welcome to Tales by Evelyn. Have you ever had a single moment, a small action, that completely shifted the way you see things? Maybe it was something someone said, a decision you made, or even a simple habit you picked up, something that, over time, changed the way you think, the way you feel, and even the way you live. That's exactly what we're diving into today. Because the truth is, massive life changes don't always come from big, dramatic events. More often than not, it's the small, simple actions, things you barely even notice at first, that create the biggest transformation. And here's the best part, you have the power to make that shift. You don't need luck. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You just need to take one small step, and that step can change everything. So, my friends, sit back, relax, and really take this in. Let's go on this journey together. And hey, I want to hear from you, as you listen. If something resonates, drop a comment below. Tell me your thoughts, share your experiences, and let's keep this conversation going. Alright, are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1: The smallest shift, the biggest impact. Let me ask you something, how often do you feel stuck? Like you're trapped in the same cycle, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same way, day after day. It's frustrating, isn't it? You want to change, but somehow, nothing seems to move. Well, here's a secret most people overlook: change doesn't have to be big. In fact, some of the most powerful transformations come from the smallest shifts. One simple act, repeated over time, can completely rewire your mindset. Think about a single drop of water. Seems insignificant, right? But if that drop keeps falling in the same place, day after day, it can carve through solid rock. That's exactly how our minds work. A single shift, one new habit, one new thought, one new action, done consistently, can change the course of your entire life. Maybe it's as simple as choosing gratitude instead of focusing on what's wrong. Maybe it's standing up straighter, making eye contact, or speaking up just a little more. Maybe it's changing the words you tell yourself. Instead of saying, "I can't," you start saying, "I'm learning." These might sound small, but over time, they create an entirely new version of you. And here's where most people go wrong: they expect change to feel big right away. But the truth is, at first, it might not feel like anything. You won't suddenly wake up and feel like a new person overnight. But if you stick with it, little by little, you'll realize that something is different. The way you react to situations, the way you carry yourself, the way you see opportunities, they all start shifting. And before you know it, you're no longer the same person you were before. So let me ask you, right now, what's one small thing you can change today? It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something. Because that is the first step to rewiring your mindset. And once you start, you'll never see yourself the same way again. Chapter 2: The Habit Loop: How Small Actions Shape Your Life. Now that you understand the power of small shifts, let's talk about how habits shape your reality. Because whether you realize it or not, your life right now is a direct result of the habits you've built over time. Think about it: your confidence, your energy, your mindset, even your success, it all comes down to the little things you do every single day. The way you wake up, the way you talk to yourself, the way you respond to challenges, all of it is a result of repeated patterns. The good news? You can change the patterns. There's a simple loop that every habit follows. One trigger, something happens that sets the habit in motion. 2 action, you respond in a certain way. 3 reward, your brain registers a result and locks in the behavior. For example, let's say you always check your phone first thing in the morning. The trigger is waking up. The action is grabbing your phone. The reward is a quick dopamine hit from scrolling. Over time, your brain builds this loop, and before you know it, it becomes second nature. Now, imagine replacing that habit with something that actually benefits you. What if, instead of reaching for your phone, you spent the first 30 seconds of your day saying something positive to yourself? Instead of mindlessly scrolling, you took a deep breath, stretched, and set an intention for your day. At first, it might feel weird. Maybe even uncomfortable. But if you repeat it, day after day, guess what happens? It starts becoming your new normal. And just like that, you begin shifting the way you think, feel, and act, without even trying. Here's the key: don't underestimate the power of small habits. They might not seem like much today, but over time, they shape the person you become. So if you want to change your life, don't focus on huge, overwhelming goals. Focus on the small, daily actions. Because those are what truly transform you. Now, take a second to think, what's one habit in your life that you want to change? Maybe it's something as simple as starting your day differently or replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations. Whatever it is, commit to it. Even if it's just for a few days. And watch what happens next. Chapter 3: Rewiring Your Mind, Breaking Free from Old Patterns. Alright, my friends, now that we've talked about the power of small actions and how habits shape your reality, let's dive into something even deeper: rewiring your mind. Because let's be real, changing habits is one thing, but if your mind is stuck in old patterns, it's easy to fall back into the same cycle. Think about it like this: imagine your mind is like a path in the forest. If you've been walking the same trail for years, it's clear, easy to follow, and automatic. But what if that path leads to places you don't want to go? Negative thoughts, self-doubt, fear of failure, all of these are just well-worn paths in your brain. And the only way to change them? You have to create a new path. Now, here's where most people get stuck. They try to force themselves to think positively, but deep down, their brain still wants to take the old, familiar route. And that's why real mindset change isn't just about thinking differently, it's about rewiring your brain to make new thoughts your default. So, how do you do it? Here are 3 things that can help. 1. Catch the thought. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Start paying attention to the thoughts running through your mind throughout the day. When a negative or limiting belief pops up, pause. Recognize it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just a habit? 2. Don't erase. Here's the thing, your brain doesn't like an empty space. If you just try to stop thinking negatively, it won't work. Instead, replace the old thought with a new one. For example, if your mind says, "I'll never be good enough," don't just tell yourself to stop thinking that. Instead, say, "I am learning, growing, and improving every day." Do this enough times, and your brain will start to believe it. 3. Reinforce with action. Thoughts alone aren't enough, you have to prove them to yourself. If you tell yourself, "I am confident," but never take action, your brain won't buy it. So, start small. Do something that aligns with your new belief, even if it's just a tiny step. The more actions you take, the more your brain will accept this new reality. And here's the magic of this process: your brain is always rewiring itself. It's called neuroplasticity, and it means that you are never stuck being the person you were yesterday. No matter how deep those old thought patterns are, you can build new ones. So, my friends, take a second and think, what's one thought that has been holding you back? And what's a new thought you can start replacing it with today? The moment you start shifting your mindset, your whole world starts shifting with you. And trust me, that's where the real magic happens. Chapter 4: The Power of Perspective, How You See the World Shapes Your Reality. Alright, my friends, let's take this even deeper. Now that we've talked about rewiring your mind and breaking free from old patterns, let's talk about something that influences everything: your perspective. Because here's the truth, the way you see the world determines how you experience it. 2 people can go through the exact same situation, but one feels defeated while the other feels empowered. Why? It's all about perspective. Let's say you fail at something. You can see it as proof that you're not good enough, or you can see it as a lesson that's making you stronger. You can take rejection as a personal attack, or you can take it as redirection towards something better. You can see obstacles as roadblocks, or you can see them as opportunities to grow. It's all about how you choose to look at it. And the craziest part? Your brain will always look for proof of what you believe. If you believe the world is against you, your mind will focus on everything that goes wrong. But if you believe that every challenge is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself, you'll start seeing opportunities everywhere. So, how do you shift your perspective? Here are 3 simple things you can do. 1. Ask better questions. When something goes wrong, instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can this make me stronger?" Your brain is like a search engine. It will find answers to whatever question you give it. So start asking better questions, and you'll start getting better answers. 2. Reframe the story. Every experience in life is just a story we tell ourselves. If you've been telling yourself a story of failure, rejection, or limitation, it's time to rewrite it. Instead of saying, "I'm stuck," try saying, "I'm in the middle of my transformation." Instead of, "I'll never figure this out," say, "I'm figuring this out step by step." The story you tell yourself shapes your reality, so choose wisely. 3. Focus on what you can control. There's so much in life that we can't control. But here's the good news. Your mindset is always in your hands. You might not control what happens to you, but you can control how you react. And sometimes, that's all you need to completely change your experience. At the end of the day, your perspective is your superpower. It can turn failures into lessons, obstacles into stepping stones, and ordinary days into extraordinary ones. So, take a moment and think, what's one situation in your life right now that you can look at differently? How can you shift your perspective to see it in a more empowering way? The moment you do that, everything changes. Chapter 5: The 3-Day Rule: How to Break Fear and Build Confidence. Alright, my friends, let's talk about something that holds so many people back: fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping outside of your comfort zone. We've all felt it. And if we let it, fear can keep us trapped in the same place for years. But what if I told you there's a simple way to break that cycle? A way to stop overthinking and start doing, without waiting for confidence to magically appear. It's called the 3-Day Rule, and here's how it works. Whenever you feel stuck in fear, instead of waiting for the perfect moment or overanalyzing every possible outcome, you give yourself exactly 3 days to take action. Not 3 weeks. Not 3 months. 3 days. Why 3 days? Because fear grows stronger the longer you wait. The more time you give yourself to hesitate, the more your brain will find reasons to stay in your comfort zone. But if you commit to doing something within 3 days, you don't give fear enough time to take over. Let's break it down into simple steps. 1. Day 1: Make the decision. The moment you feel fear stopping you from doing something, whether it's speaking up, starting something new, or taking a risk, acknowledge it. Instead of pushing it away, say to yourself, "I see you, fear. But I'm not letting you control me." Then, set a deadline: within 3 days, I will take action. 2. Day 2: Take a small step. You don't have to do something huge right away. Just take a small, manageable step in the direction of what you want. If you're afraid to start something new, spend 10 minutes researching it. If you're afraid to put yourself out there, practice in private. The key is to break the cycle of hesitation. 3. Day 3: Do it, no matter what. By the 3rd day, it's time to act. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just have to do it. Because once you take that step, you realize that fear was never as big as it seemed. And here's the best part: confidence comes after action, not before. Most people wait to feel ready before they take action. But the truth is, action is what creates readiness. Every time you push past fear, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. And the more you do it, the more unstoppable you become. So, let me ask you, what's something you've been putting off because of fear? What's one thing you can commit to doing within the next 3 days? Whatever it is, start now. Because the sooner you take action, the sooner you realize that fear was never as powerful as you thought. Chapter 6: The Confidence Loop: How to Keep Growing Without Looking Back. Alright, my friends, now that we've talked about pushing past fear with the 3-day rule, let's take it a step further. Because here's the thing: confidence isn't something you get once and keep forever. It's something you have to build, maintain, and strengthen over time. Think of confidence like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. But if you keep challenging yourself, keep stepping outside your comfort zone, it grows stronger and stronger, until one day, the things that once scared you feel completely natural. And the best way to make sure you don't fall back into self-doubt? You need to create a confidence loop. A confidence loop is simple: action, growth, proof, more action. Let's break it down. 1. Action creates growth. When you take action, no matter how small, you force yourself to grow. Maybe you speak up when you normally wouldn't. Maybe you try something new instead of holding back. Whatever it is, that action expands your comfort zone. 2. Growth creates proof. Every time you push yourself, you collect proof that you're capable. You start seeing results, even if they're small. And that proof is what starts changing the way you see yourself. 3. Proof builds more action. Once you see what you're capable of, it gets easier to take action again. The more proof you collect, the more confidence you build. And the cycle repeats, getting stronger every time. But here's where most people get stuck: they wait to feel confident before they take action. They think, I'll start when I feel ready, or I need more time to prepare. But that's the trap, because confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. So, how do you make sure you keep this loop going? Here are 3 simple things you can do. 1. Celebrate small wins. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, even in the smallest way, recognize it. Give yourself credit. Because the more you acknowledge your progress, the faster your confidence grows. 2. Keep a proof list. Start writing down moments when you did something that scared you. Over time, you'll build a list of proof that you can handle challenges. And whenever self-doubt creeps in, just look back at that list. It will remind you of how far you've come. 3. Keep moving, even when it's scary. The moment you stop challenging yourself, your confidence starts to fade. So keep going. Keep pushing. Keep proving to yourself that you're capable. Because once you get into the habit of taking action despite fear, there's nothing that can hold you back. So now, ask yourself, what's something you know you should do, but fear has been stopping you? What's one small step you can take today to push yourself forward? Whatever it is, go for it. Because the more you challenge yourself, the more unstoppable you become. Alright, my friends, we've covered a lot. We talked about small actions that lead to big changes, rewiring your mindset, shifting your perspective, breaking free from fear, and building unstoppable confidence. But at the end of the day, everything comes down to one simple truth. You are capable of so much more than you think. Fear, doubt, hesitation, these things don't define you. They are just roadblocks your mind creates. And the moment you decide to step past them, your entire life starts to shift. But remember this, growth isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, taking action, and allowing yourself to learn along the way. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step. So, as you move forward from here, I want you to ask yourself, what's one thing I've been holding back on? What's one action I can take today, no matter how small? What kind of person do I want to become, and how can I start stepping into that version of myself right now? Because trust me, the moment you start moving, you'll realize that you were never truly stuck. You were just waiting for the right moment. And that moment? It's now. So go out there, take action, and believe in yourself. You are capable. You are strong. And this is just the beginning. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so we can keep growing together. Until next time, my friends, stay strong, stay brave, and keep moving forward.